Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden, and I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher. Today, we're going to take a look at a fairly new tangle from CZT Shie Naritomi, and forgive me if I've mispronounced or put accents in the wrong place. Shie is from Japan, and her tangle is called Yumemi. This is a neat tangle. All right. And I'm just coming off, I do a couple Tangle Time sessions is what I call them on Thursdays. And we just did this one this morning, and I have another one. So I'm doing this in the middle of both of them. And this is just so fantastic. So I'm kind of, like extra excited about this one. Because it's just neat, period. All right. So this one starts off with what we will call, and I think I heard Marie Thomas, co-founder of Zentangle, use this term, and I love it. It's a tethered orb, because I was always trying to find a way to kind of describe, what this, how to describe this in Zentangle essential elemental stroke language, and this is it. So it's a tethered orb. So pick a place to start. I'm going to start sort of in the middle here. Okay, so I'm picking my place and drawing an orb, and so I've tethered it to where I've started, and then we're coming back to it. And so this is kind of how, flux, that's one way to think about flux, so I'm going to use that term as long as I can remember it, because it's a fantastic term. All right, so we have one, and now we're going to draw 5 of these. So that is the trick, is making sure to have enough room for 5. What I have found is if I can get 3 kind of in a half like that, or just a bit over, then I'm pretty good to get the other 2. One thing you'll want to do is to also kind of trace over part of, the shared line. So tracing over that, and then you can kind of judge. And then, the end one is kind of easy. Now, if for some reason you end up with not enough room, feel free to use the Hollabao Technique, which would be, so for instance, if I, didn't have enough room, and then I was drawing, and say we'll pretend like it's right here, or maybe I'll do one in a minute, and then you just pick up your pen, so you just have like a partial, like it's tucked underneath, and it will be just fine. All right, next step is we're going to do a couple of little curved lines like this in the center of that tethered orb, which now looks like a petal. So, a little curved line this way, a little curved line that way, meeting in that middle there, basically looking like a V, a little curvy V, and then coloring it in. And we're going to do this on all of these tethered orbs. Oh, and one thing to do, go slow. I'm going a bit fast here. And so what happens when I go fast is that then, my lines don't merge in together. And so it's like you want to come out of that line and then back into that line, better than that, so that way it looks seamless. And going slow helps that. All right. Okay. So once we have that, we can, and I can't remember if I might have, oh no, because she had both of these on one step out section, and I like to separate them out. So the next one that I have is just putting some little lines from the base, from where we tethered everything to. We're just going to put some lines coming out. Now I like to kind of sort of flick my pen, just to kind of keep it light. And actually, you know what? Just looking right here, this one, because I didn't go this way, but this one just, for whatever reason, this one almost looks like I've used the Hollabao right here, because if I had kept going with that orb, just to kind of show, if I was doing this backwards, that would be kind of what it looks like. But even if it was up towards the top, it would still be fine. All right, so I am just, like I said, just putting some little lines coming from the center, 3-ish. This also adds some shading in the middle, which is neat. Last-ish step, is we're going to add some rounding. So it's kind of the opposite. Oh, look at that. It's just weird. Let's fix that. All right. So rounding is just, we're coming into this crevice and rounding it off and then filling it in. And this one, because, I didn't have much of a gap, it's up towards the top. This one is down a little bit. And this is another one. You just have to be careful to have it merge into the line so it's not sticking out so much. So it looks a part of it and not just so it looks like a part of it. All right. And there we have it. Now, in her step outs, one of the things that she does is she adds, she called it a kiss. So, which is basically, so putting a bunch of these together, but having them butt up next, because I like the word kiss is much better. So this can be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to start and see, because I went like a little bit out here. So that's where I'm going to start. All right. So I'm going to start about here and make my tethered orb so I can just, as she says, kiss that one. And it also takes care of that little space that I wasn't happy with. All right, and then we'll draw some more. And sometimes, if the orb doesn't turn out the way you like necessarily, that's okay. Because we do have all of our course corrections. And you know what? This is, it's kind of an organic tangle. So, coming from nature, and sometimes nature isn't always perfect. And so just try not to worry about that. Just, they think, whatever will take, mentally just go, okay, nope, letting it go. It's all right. And just keep going. But, maybe a small mental note. So like right here, I'm like, not really liking that. But, this next step, right, where I'm doing all of this, it could just blend right in. We'll see. Oh, sure, a little bit. Yep, I don't even see it anymore. So there we go. Didn't have to do anything except just following the tangle. And so that's good. All right, so then darkening these little corners, I have to get a little bit better at getting them to merge in. All right, so there we have a couple. Now, there are some other things that you can do with this. I think I need to have like a third one just because. So let's do that. Okay, as I was going, I decided, you know what, I'm going to pause this real quick, and and put a couple extra of these in, and not have you suffer through it. All right, I know it's not suffering through, but I want to make these quick, and I want to kind of stay to that. All right, so once you have your space filled however you want it, there are multiple ways, of course, that you can finish it up. You could, leave it as so. You could put a number of really fantastic backgrounds in. But the way that that she filled these out, or that she finished them off, excuse me, was to put an aura around the whole pattern, which is really a fantastic way to finish something off. And this is a good exercise in slowing down and being careful and turning the tile. I generally like to make sure I can see what I'm auraing. And for those, if this is the first ever video that you've watched on Zentangle, to aura is essentially what I'm doing was I'm outlining, staying a certain distance away, and it's whatever distance that you choose, and trying to maintain that all the way around the pattern. And and if something happens, that's okay. It's all right. It's just one of those it's kind of neat to just always be attempting to do that. And so I'm trying also to sort of get every crevice that I can. And just really putting a nice outline around all of this. All right. And I'll tell you, if there's some time where you've done a tangle or something and you're just like, gosh, it needs something else. Oops, and look at this needs something else too. I didn't quite finish it. That always happens when I'm trying to hurry. I mean, it's like it is cute even without it, but adding this little rounding bit in, just, I don't know, it just makes it look really, really neat. Oh, and I did it over here too. You were probably yelling at the screen. All right, there we go. Now we're all set. And, and again, as I just like getting a little closer, I'm like, nope, I should have moved my tile. I knew I should have turned it. All right, because you get to where your hand is comfortable, and that's nice. And that's what we want to do, is keep the hand comfortable. So while that is fantastic, adding some orbs to the background, and and this is one of those that it's up to you. You don't have to put the aura, don't have to do the orbs. I think it's one of those, this is only paper, so you can play with it and see how you like it. I'm just going to add some orbs just around, and then maybe fill all the rest of them in later, working to, at least I want them to be packed up next to each other kind of tight. But they add a nice addition to this. But I just want to give you the flavor of it. And yep, I'm going to try to put some little teeny ones in there. Just so you can see. And then we can do a little bit of shading in those. Now, I've not messed with shading the flower itself, because sometimes I think it's really neat to just have it be. But I at least want to get this kind of surrounding the inside, so you can get a look at what it looks like. And then I want to show you an example from the earlier class set we did. And yes, and if you look at the entry on Tangle Patterns, you can see some of the work that she did with this, and it's just gorgeous. So you get the idea. And then, and I'm gonna shade it anyway here, because I can go back and add orbs on afterwards. But what I would like to do is just going around the outside of these, excuse me. Just adding a bit of graphite. And this is one of those where you can play with just how dark that you want to go around these flowers. Kind of the darker you go, the more they pop. But it just depends on what it is that you are looking for in your tangles. And I could have gone all the way around, but actually sometimes it's kind of fun to just do a like this, where it's not quite finished. It still looks neat, and sometimes it kind of, things like this look neat when they're not completely finished either. And leaving some of that, the open space and things. Oh, but you can see how that's kind of popping. And of course, you could add a little extra if you want to in the center, but yeah, I kind of just like it the way it is. But that's just me, and that's just me just right now. So, so earlier, as I mentioned, so this one I did on a Zendala. It's not quite finished, but I used a pink Micron PN pen for this, and I'm going to put some more flowers around the edge and fill in with some more orbs. And then I'm going to do this technique called transcending. I'm going to do something on top of it, and so sometime when I have that done, I will, I'll show it off on my website and channels, the Facebook and all of that. So, so anyway, this is, like I said, a super fun tangle. Being that, there we go. So anyway, this is a really fun tangle. And as I was starting to say, and something went weird on my phone, it's trying to be spring out at the time of this recording. And just, thought, well, maybe we can add some little Zentangle help for it. Just to cheer on the season of spring and flowers blooming and all of that kind of stuff. And the cherry blossoms blossoming. All right, so with that, I wish you very happy tangling. If you like the video, thumbs ups are much appreciated, as well as subscribing and connecting and all of that. All right, have a great one.